are you? Thank you.
All right, next up are the Indiana Hoosiers. They are the number 9 seed in the Birmingham region. They went 19-12 overall during the season, 10-8 in the Big Ten. We're joined today by head coach Terry Morin, student athletes Yarden Garzone and Shay Chesky. Coach, if you would please make an opening statement.
Sure. Well, it's the greatest time of the year if you're passionate about this game the way we are, and so we are grateful to not just be in the field, but grateful to be in Columbia, South Carolina, and just look forward to what's next tomorrow inside of our game. Want to give a shout out to the Big Ten Conference as a whole for preparing us for this moment. So again, the Hoosiers are grateful to be here and really look forward to tomorrow.
This time we'll open up questions just for the student athletes. If you would please raise your hand, we'll get a microphone to you. We'll start right there on the right. Thank you. Oh, go ahead. Middle.
Jordan. I'm Carter Braun reporting for USA Today. This year has been streaky for you guys as you've gone on some win streaks, gone on some losing streaks. Coming off the loss to USC in the Big Ten championship, or the Big Ten tournament, how do you just get your guys' mind right and just focus on Utah tomorrow?
Yeah, I feel like this year we had a lot of ups and downs. We learned to know each other. And I feel like we come tomorrow very confident. We have a great game plan. And I feel like our preparation was great. And we really want to go out there and play. And I think that's the main thing.
Go ahead, sir.
Hey, Shay. Andy Mathis with USA Today. Obviously, you transferred from Penn State. How have you meshed with some of the veteran forwards and guards on the team and just kind of established yourself with those players who have been here for a little bit longer than you?
Yeah, I think I meshed really well with them. When I first got here, they kind of taught me the culture and, what it means to be a Hoosier, and, very grateful for that. They're great players, so it's easy to, play with great players surrounded by you, especially this one up here. Kind of showed me the ropes. So I'm just grateful to be here with them, and especially with Sid and Chloe with their last years here. It's a cool moment for all of us.
Let's go here in the front.
Yeah, Chloe Peterson, Indy Star. Yarden, this is the first time in a couple of years you guys have gone on the road in the first weekend. Does that change your approach at all, just going into the first round?
I don't think it's really changed our approach. Every game we go to the game and we want to win the game. I feel like we're ready, and in March is different. So every game is one and done, and we come in to win the game, no matter where we are.
Let's go back to the middle here.
Shay, I have a question. It's your first NCAA tournament appearance. Are you feeling nervous? How are you feeling before, obviously it's less than 24 hours now?
Yeah, I would say I'm more grateful and blessed to be here. It's such a surreal moment. When you're a little kid, you dream of playing in March, and the last 2 seasons I wasn't able to get there. So with this group, just forever grateful that we made it here, and we're going to keep on winning and shock the world.
The question's right behind you.
Yeah, Shay, you kind of touched on it earlier about learning to be a Hoosier during your year here. What have you learned about Indiana, Bloomington? What does it mean to be an Indiana Hoosier to you?
Yeah, I would just say, the culture here is amazing. Everyone's family. That comes down to the players, the coaches, the fans, the environment. They really make you feel like, you're meant to be here. And it's such a cool feeling, coming in. We have so many great fans and people that support us. You don't see that everywhere else. So I think that's a really cool thing about Bloomington and just his program in general.
Let's go to the third row.
Yarden, have you talked to your sister at all about playing against Utah in her career and any advice she might have given you?
I did talk with her a little bit. I will keep the advice between us. But yeah, I did talk with her a little bit. I talk with her a lot all the time, so I feel like she gave me really good insight how to approach this game.
Go in the front row.
A couple of other players have expressed that it's just like it's really exciting and interesting to be in an environment like this. Has it been that way for you guys, or is this just another place to play at?
Yarden, you want to take that first?
Can you ask it again? Sorry.
Is this environment like special to you guys being at a storied program like South Carolina playing here, or is this just like another environment for you guys to come in, try and get a win out, and just move forward?
South Carolina is a great program. You have great players come in and out of this school, but to us, it's just another game, right? It's a basketball floor, and we're here to win. But it is awesome to see all the greats, that came out of here, and so it's cool both ways.
Go ahead in the third row.
Shay, you're one of a long list now of transfers that have really worked out at Indiana. What about the culture that Coach Moore has established, the team has, that allows transfers to come in and be so successful?
Yeah, it comes down to the work that we put in every day. We want to work hard, and that comes from the players, and the coaches help us with that. You can't force us to get in the gym. We're there before practice, after practice, and it shows when we play. And that just speaks volumes of the people that Coach Moore brings in and the staff that she surrounds herself with.
Going back in the front row.
Jordan, you spoke last year around this time about the difficulties that playing in America during the conflict in your home of Israel is going on. About a year has passed. I'm sure you still have a lot of emotions. How are you feeling going into this year's tournament?
I feel like I'm trying to use my platform to raise the awareness about my country, about the situation, and I do everything I can to put it on the biggest stage possible. And I feel like basketball has helped me to be there for my country, so I feel like it's great that I have this stage to do it.
Any other questions for the student athletes? If not, we do have one via Zoom. Seth Tao. Seth, you have a question?
Yeah, I was just going to ask Shay, just with the prep going into Utah, I guess what stands out about this matchup? What are some of the biggest keys you think for this game? Are there any similarities to teams you've seen already this season?
I think the biggest similarity is honestly us. We said this before, prepping for them. We got to make sure that we keep them off the three-point line. They're great three-point shooters. They have great players, making sure that we win the rebound and, honestly just stay on them fast and, make sure that we're the aggressors this game.
Open up now for questions for head coach Terry. And they are not. Sorry. Specifically says do not dismiss. Go over here to the front.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about Chloe. Obviously, she's been with you for 5 years, and she's going into her last tournament. Just what has she meant to the program over these last 5 years?
Well, she's, meant so much, not just to this program, but I think the people that are inside our locker room, the people at the university, because, she's touched, more than just, her teammates and us as coaches. I think Shay said it, when you have 3 seniors in Sid and Chloe and Strep, you want them to have their moment, but you want to help them have an experience here that they're going to remember, for a lifetime. And, even, on selection Sunday, I reminded our players just how important it was to be grateful. Not everybody gets to play in this field, and it's hard to get into. Chloe's been in a lot of these tournaments, and she's been instrumental in why we've been able to, play in the last 6 of these, just because of her leadership on the floor, off the floor, and just, she draws the toughest defensive assignment night in and night out for us. And I can tell you that we're going to miss that when she's gone.
Other questions, Pete?
Terry, there's been a lot of talk over the last few years about how the women's tournament is different than the men's tournament. But this format, these first 2 rounds, it's kind of a unique situation, and it seems like a great reward for teams that can have one of the top 16 seeds and get to host for a couple of days. Would you be open to a discussion of a neutral site throughout the tournament, or do you like this format that we have?
Yeah, it's a great question. We've been so fortunate the last couple of years, right? Because we've been at home and been able to host, and I didn't like having to pack, right, the other day, because like I said, we've had the luxury. But I do think that would be worth having a conversation, because there is, we've felt it. There is such thing as a home environment, where your fans can get you to the finish line, and I do think that rings true, for the top 16 seeds. There's no doubt that there's an advantage, and so I would be open to having that discussion. I think it probably needs to be. We're at a different time with our game, the popularity and the players that are playing it at such a high level. And so for it to be on neutral sites feels a little bit probably more fair. And so I do think that it's probably going to happen, whether it's next year, this year, or next year and the next couple years. I do think it's something that will change. And the parity too is incredible in our game right now as well. So. But to answer your question, yes, I think it's probably due time that we have that conversation.
Let's go back to the front row here.
Coach, a win tomorrow means that it's 10 straight 20-win seasons for your Indiana Hoosiers. Mm-hmm. What have you brought to this program to install such a culture and such a winning mentality? What could you say is the main thing that you brought to Indiana to lead to such winning?
That's easy. That's the players, right? I mean, you can only win with high-level, skilled players that really understand that it's more about we than me. And in order to be able to have the success that we've had, we have to do it together. Nobody is bigger than this program, including myself. And so it's always just been about bringing in the right players and protecting the locker room and making sure that we are living up to the standards in which we hold ourselves up to every single day. And we do pride ourselves on the work piece, but you have to have interested players that believe in that. As Shay mentioned, it's not like we have to twist their arm to get into the gym. They do that on their own, but we've been able to do it because of the special players that are inside that locker room, and I think there's a love. They want to see each other be successful.
Pete,
Terry, you did mention the parity in this game. I mean, a couple of years ago, 2-3 years ago, Utah Indiana might have been a round of 16 game or an Elite 8 game.
Yeah.
But because of all that parity,
Yeah.
this is where you are. Is that good for the game? Is it just force everybody, hey, we've got to take that next step forward in order to keep
I think
building?
it's great. For the longest time, it's, we've seen the same teams, right, that are year in and year out. And probably in the last, probably 3 or 4 years, that's changed. And it continues to change. And even in our season this year, I mean, this gentleman, talked about the ups and downs. I mean, the Big Ten is so good. And some of the losses that we've had are because this league is really freaking good. And, and we're one of those, to be in this league night in and night out. It's like you're playing in a Final Four. You're playing in a Sweet 16. You're playing in an Elite 8, which we've done all of that. And so it certainly prepared us, like I said, for this moment. But it has been, incredible to be a part of it. And I just think it's going to continue to be, what it is right now. And that, by some would say, it's, I don't know that you can this year pick who's going to win the Final Four, or who's going to win the national championship just because of that.
Yeah, Utah shoots the three ball very well, and obviously they have Gianna, who's averaging almost 20 points a game. How are you guys going to combat that and really limit them from the perimeter?
Well, we feel like we have great defenders. We only gave up about 64 points this year. Our defense, our offense probably gets talked about more because of our shooters, and our offense and how we can spread people out and certainly move the ball and all of that. But I think sometimes what gets missed is how good our guys are on the defensive side of the ball. How good our preparation is. And so we understand the assignment, right? That she's really good, but she also has. This is an old Utah team, and so there's more than just number 5 out there. There's a lot of those guys that can shoot it, but we do feel like we have a sound scouting report, game plan, for how we have to guard them in order to give ourselves a chance to win the game, and so. I think it'll be a really good basketball game tomorrow.
Let's go to the left.
Yeah, welcome to Columbia.
Thank you.
Obviously, some big news out of Indiana this week was a new men's basketball coach being hired. And so I'm curious whether you think having a successful men's program helps generate some buzz around your program or it benefits your program in any way. Is there any similarity between the two schools or two programs, I mean?
Great question, and I haven't even met Coach yet, but I'll say this: we've created a lot of buzz, right? And we haven't needed men's basketball for that, And so, by what we've been able to do the last few years, and what we continue to do inside of this program, and so, but does it help? It also helps to have a good football team. Right? And so, there's 24 sports in Indiana. We love them all. We all want to be successful. But to have a successful football program, to have a successful men's program only helps everybody else. And so we cheer like crazy for everybody. But I'm excited, for what's next for men's basketball because Indiana is such a special place, and it takes somebody special to be the leader over there in men's basketball. Like I said, I haven't met Coach yet, but just in the things that I've read, I'm really looking forward to not only meeting him, but watching him work, and I feel like he's going to do some really special things in Indiana.
Any other questions from the room? If not, Seth Toe, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, hey, Terry.
Hey, Seth.
This is a little off the wall, but just felt like I didn't have a great chance to ask you about some of this stuff earlier in the season. Valentina signed on really late. Like, I think that was in August, like when students were already on campus, if I'm not mistaken. Just, this is a two-parter. So I guess first, just how did that come together and how did you find her? And then secondly, I guess between her, Faith, Charnice, and then Lene and Sydney Fenn and their recoveries, just the players we don't see too much on game day. Could you just touch on the development they've made behind the scenes this season?
Sure. Val came to us late, as you mentioned. She was somebody that Coach Rhett got to see throughout his travels. And again, it always comes down to some things from an academic perspective. With some of our international students. And so she was a late add. We had to get some things in order. She did academically for her to be able to come over and become part of our program. And then, the rest, the Charnice, did you say Charnice, Sid Finn?
Yeah.
Bo, all making progress, especially Bo. That was, and Sid, who had the knee issues and took the year off, have been making progress with Kylie and Ben, our trainer. And then, Charnice, Faith, and, you got to see Faith a little bit in the Big Ten tournament step up in a big way when we got into foul trouble. And so, again, those guys that, might not get, we don't talk about them often, but, I can't overstate enough how important they are in practice for us and the reps that they get, but also being on that other team and pushing, our other players. Sometimes they're a scout team, sometimes it's just 5-on-5, which we played a lot of. In hoping that it's a competitive environment for our players to be able to play in. And so all of them have done a great job. We've missed Bo. We have missed Bo tremendously because she had a great summer and thought we were going to have her, as we went into the season, another really sound guard for us. And so, but she's doing terrific in her rehab, and we'll look forward to getting her back here soon for the summer.
Seth, did you have a follow-up?
Nope. Thanks.
You're good. All right.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank
Thank
you,
you all.
guys.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Is that right?